pumps, wave makers, life support, and the Great White Protein Skimmer. Welcome to the 12-week reef video 5. Let's get into it. Last week in video 4, we had the help of Sam Parker from Parker's Reef to get our parameters right, install the ATO, and then we finally got the tank wet. Over the past few days, our filter socks, they've been really hard at work removing the cloudiness of this tank, and it's now crystal clear. Today, in video number 5, we're ready to fine-tune some of the Delua equipment we installed back in video 3. When it comes to fine-tuning your filtration and life support, it's more difficult in the first few months after starting your reef aquarium. Your hands will be in and out of the tank every week, adding new fish, new corals, etc., while at the same time, the nitrogen cycle and the biological ecosystem is trying to stabilize itself. You'll also notice after a week or two, something called the ugly phase. Yep, throughout the first few weeks, you're likely to see a thin film start to spread over most of the rocks and sand. Don't worry, it's totally normal and it's all part of the process. Lucky for us, we have some very natural tricks up our sleeve, but more on that towards the end of this video. Now I'm a little nervous because I'm here by myself, but it's time for me to turn on some of the equipment. All right, let's get some of this gear actually going. We'll start with the wave maker. 16. Let's check if that's actually working. Yeah, it's pumping pretty hard. I'm happy with that. That's good. And then the skimmer. All right, it doesn't really look that bubbly. I'll crank this a little bit. Cool, so that's the skimmer doing its thing. Skimmer's skimming. All right, I don't really know what I'm doing wrong here, I think. Hey, all right. All right. Let's call the pros in, I reckon. See if there's any instructions or something. Oh, sweet, they got a live chat. Any tips with tuning? Cool. I guess we'll wait for a reply. Sweet. Hey, Brady. Anthony, that was quick. Good support. How are you? Good, mate. This is the 12-week reef. We've been working super hard on this one. It's taken us a little while to get here. What do you think?
It looks great. I can see the Great White Wave Maker, 6,000 litre an hour, but you have problems with your skimmer.
Yeah, I blew the lid off the thing. I'll show you.
Wow, okay, let's take a look. Okay, so I see you've turned the bubbles down and dropped the water level after your mishap.
Yep.
So with the Great White DC skimmer, you have 3 mechanisms of tuning. The first is here in the neck. This is where the air is drawn in that then goes into the pump. So by tightening and loosening this screw here, you're allowing more or less air into the skimmer. So at the moment it's fully closed, which is good. But from there we slightly open it and you'll now see a ton of air enter in through the pump and then into the skimmer body. The second mechanism of tuning your Great White skimmer is probably the most confusing and the most misinterpreted for most users. The Great White DC skimmer comes with a controller, and the controller goes from 1 to 20, and most people will just put it straight on 20. In a protein skimmer, you want a nice, calm bubble effect, kind of like how it is now. But generally, we would rarely run it on maximum speed. So we would straight away push this down to say 16.
So it was on 20.
It was on 20, which is fine for some tanks, but generally a new tank, especially with no bioload like yours has, 16 is fine. And as the tank matures, you'll notice that 16 is still a pretty good level. That's what most people have it at.
All right, 16, good to know.
Okay, so the third and final adjustment of the protein skimmer is the actual water level inside the skimmer and where the bubbles are resting. So if the water level is too low, like it is now, all the organics and gunk inside your aquarium are not going to have a chance to escape into the collection cup. And if it's too high in the protein skimmer, like the problem you had before, you're going to overflow the skimmer.
Gotcha.
So on the discharge outlet here, you have a minus and a positive. If we close it to the minus side, you'll notice the water level increase inside the protein skimmer, and it's quite sensitive, so just do it at a half turn a time, and the higher the water level will allow you to achieve something called a wet skim, and a lower water level will allow you to achieve something called a dry skim.
So what's better for just freshly started aquarium?
For the first few months, you will be watching your protein skimmer and your whole system in general, because everything is changing so quickly for the first few months. You're adding fish and coral, your nitrogen cycle is getting started. There's a lot of stuff going on chemically inside the tank, and your protein skimmer is going to react to all these things all the time. So for the first few months, just watch your skimmer. I personally like to leave the water level just above the neckline, and I achieve that by closing the gate valve until I achieve the optimal level.
Here is almost spot on.
Yeah, that's how I would keep it, but that's how you tune the great white protein skimmer.
I wish you were here when I crank this up.
Everyone asks this question and it's totally fine. Looking at the rest of your system now, I think everything's ready. Sam Parker did a great job installing the ATO inside the cage.
Nice job.
Great white return pump is doing well to pump the water back up. What I would do now is, I see you've got a lot of biological media here. If you go see Steve, he will give you some pre-cycled biological media and even some carbon.
So pre-cycled media means we can get something in here today.
Duh.
Something really small, yes. Go see Steve, he'll give you the best advice.
Oh, there's Steve. I need his help. Steve!
Oh, Brady, yeah, yeah.
Steve! Steve! Oh, you mustn't have heard me.
Brady, it's you.
So I need some biological media and a cleanup crew for my tank.
All right, come with me.
Sweet.
Got plenty of that. So cleanup crews here. These Astrea snails are great. So in your size tank, start with 2 of those.
Just 2.
Just 2 at the start, and we're going to do 1 of these Stromba snails here as well. Now the Astrea snails, they'll travel around on the glass like this and clean up bits of algae and scavenge that on your rock and on your glass. And the Strombus here, like a bulldozer, will go through the substrate, through the sand at the bottom, keep it turned over, keep it fresh. And we only want just a little bit at the start, so just 2 of these, 1 of these, no more than that. But the trick is we're going to put some pre-cycled media. Now this here has been in this tank for at least a month, and it's full of beneficial bacteria. You kickstart your tank straight away. You can put your cleanup crew in there immediately without a risk. Doesn't mean you can add heaps and heaps, but it's a great way to kickstart your tank.
All right, so it's a start.
The other thing I'd add is some quality carbon. Add that to your new tank. It'll remove any impurities and make that water beautiful and crystal clear. All right, there you go. Get out of here.
We have our carbon and our cycled media in a bag here. Now, if you're looking up, we've got our snails acclimating as we speak, because remember, invertebrates need acclimation too. And now we're going to swap out some of our media for this cycled media. Making sure that the water comes up there nice and evenly. Put that one there. Cycled media is out of the bag, and our carbon needs to stay in the bag. Easy as that. Now the carbon will purify your water and leave it crystal clear. Back to these guys. We're going to be teaching you how to acclimate all of your fish in a later on video. Okay, so I finally get to add some livestock to this tank. It might just be a snail, or 3. I don't want to drop this guy, so I'm going to lower it all the way in. There you go, little guy. You get to join as well. I like these little ones. And there we have it. First stocking of the 12-week reef. Recap of week number 5. That actually wasn't that hard. We've perfectly tuned our great white protein skimmer and our wave maker. We also learned that over the next few weeks, as the tank goes through its necessary changes, that we have to be attentive and ready to slightly adjust things where necessary. I can't believe the tank is now not only wet and crystal clear, but we actually have a live cleanup crew in there. We're gonna see some amazing and sometimes ugly changes over the next few weeks, but it's all part of the process, and the cleanup crew are definitely gonna be minimizing that. Now, Angry Steve helped kickstart our nitrogen cycle and saved us months, literally months of waiting. and we may be able to add some small fish and coral next week now. You're done this week, 12-week reefers. Week 6 is up next, and we're gonna leave it up to you to decide whether we add a tiny little fish or two or go straight into adding sustainably farmed grown coral. Hit us up on our social media pages, Delua_international. Like, comment, and tell us how we should proceed. Until next week, guys, catch you later.
Let's check it out. How are you?
Yeah, we're good. We're great.
Again.
Oh yeah!
We're ready to fine-tune some of the Darloa equipment.
Delua, bro.
Josh.
You know how many people said to me, oh, your company's called Darloa. I didn't know that. I'm like, no, it's not. 10 years to get people to say it right, and now he's just fucking in one video.
I'm done in a video.
Okay. Okay. Okay, man.